Welcome to the Mrs. R Relevant Daily Draft Podcast, joined by Chris, Andy, Randall. Bob couldn't make it. Hopefully Bob's daughter, whose car broke down, is safe. But this is Tuesday at Draft Professor right here. We're building the chemistry. We're dusting off the rust here for preseason podcasting. And we've got Colorado and Georgia Tech coming up here in a minute. But Randall, what is the good word where you are?
Oh, it's good. We're out of the 90-degree weather, but, last week was kiddo's first week of school. And, Jim, I think you know how that goes. We all ended up getting sick per usual because one kid brings it day one and everybody gets sick. So getting through a cold, but other than that, excited to talk about Georgia Tech and Colorado. Andy, how you doing?
I'm great. I'm just ready for real football to start back up. Roster cut down day in the NFL today. We got this football game on Friday. Great time.
Chris, how about you? Anything interesting in your world?
Yeah, so we had in the outside of football, we spoke with Marcel Dorff today. We recapped UFC in China, talked about some of the shenanigans that went on with knockouts, with decisions, and then if you can check out my YouTube channel, me and War Dog Kevin Apollo talked about WWE Clash in Paris this weekend, and also this unfortunate incident we've seen online now with Raja Jackson, aka Rampage's kid, nearly killing somebody almost in the ring, but. I'm looking forward to college football because we're going to talk about positive stuff. Too many negative I talked today, so I'm looking forward tonight and some positive college football talk.
There you go.
Yeah. So I want to give a shout out to a couple of people. So Chris Paul Sr. reached out to me today because Pooh Paul got cut. So today's a weird day, right? Because 53 people find out that their dream came true and they made an NFL team, and 37 people get cut from every NFL team today. So it's a weird day. We've had some contract extensions and other things going around the NFL. We're here to talk about the Colorado-Georgia Tech game and specifically the draftable players in it. Andy, I know that you are a Colorado Buffaloes fan. Do you want to give us your synopsis of the Colorado team, where it is now, and just take a few minutes.
Yeah, I mean today's a big day for the Buffs. They named Kaidon Salter the starting quarterback just a few hours ago. Really not a surprising outcome, from the moment he transferred in. We thought that was going to happen. And Kaidon Salter is an interesting NFL case study. This is a guy who I could see. The likely scenario is he's probably undrafted, but I think with a good year, there is absolutely hope to see him get drafted somewhere around 5th, 4th round even. And he has the weapons around him to do it. We've talked about it before. This Colorado team probably has 5 receivers that could start on a lot of college football teams. Omarion Miller, Draylon Miller, Joseph Williams, Sincere Brown, Hykeem Williams, all very good players, and it'll be interesting to see how they balance that up. But the thing I'm most intrigued to see in this game, and I'll start out with it, the matchup, the wide receiver cornerback matchup between Eric Rivers from Georgia Tech and DJ McKinney from Colorado. 2 guys I like very much for the 2026 NFL draft. 2 guys I'm very interested to see battle it out on Friday night.
Yeah, so Randall, are Eric Rivers and DJ McKinney the 2 best players in the game according to your draft board?
Most definitely, yeah. Eric Rivers and DJ McKinney is higher. Eric Rivers, I'm pretty high on. I am excited to see how he is going to do at Georgia Tech because he's coming from Florida International. But he, pretty much blew up Florida International when he had 62 catches, almost 1,200 yards, 12 touchdowns to go with that. And he's only standing at 5'11", 175. Reports are coming out that he'll break the 4.4 speed. He's got faster than 4.40 speed, which is great. He had 7 100-yard games. He had a 300-yard game against New Mexico State. So he's just a highlight machine, even though he's only 175. I don't think that the way that he was used in Florida International, I don't think really got in the way of his 175 build, especially with receivers now being lighter. But he doesn't look that light being 5'11". He He does really well. I mean, at Florida International, he was used out wide a lot, which is also surprising for that 175 build. I'm impressed with that. But his route running is very impressive. And my favorite thing is he creates a lot of separation with deceleration. He probably is top 5 in deceleration, which is impressive. He can stop on a dime. I love everything about him. He's got physicality, even though he's 175. He's got all 3 levels of speed. He's very animated in his route running, and I do kind of like animated route runners, to be honest with you. Uses a lot of shoulder turns, uses his head a lot on double moves or even just quick moves to the outside to go on a go route. So I like his game overall. And then DJ McKinney, I am also high on as well. As I'm curious, I have him. I know a lot of people have him. We've got a couple draft professors in the CB2, CB3, CB4 area. I have him in the CB11 because I just want to steer caution. I want to see how he adapts without Travis Hunter there as a CB1, how he's going to take that CB1 rollover. But he should honestly handle it fine. He's got great length at 6'2", 180, so he's got good speed. He's got good production with 3 interceptions and 7 pass breakups and only allowing a 60 passer rating. So I like his game. He's physical. He stays at the hip on people. He has fluid hips, so he can turn inside really well to cover the middle of the field routes, as well as turning outside. So he's got all that to his game. I'm just really excited to see how he responds in that leadership role that Travis Hunter has gone.
Okay. So, Chris, for you, Eric Rivers, DJ McKinney, are they the 2 best draftable players in the game?
Yes, and we got to bring this up about Eric Rivers. He's a tough little son of a, pardon my language, son of a bitch.
It's okay. It's okay.
Like he has a fighter's mentality where he will go over the middle. He does not care if you are going to hit him. Well, go ahead, hit him. We see this a lot with speed receivers. Quentin Johnson for the Chargers brings to my mind where if you hit him, if you bump him a lot, he will sort of fold. Eric Rivers doesn't care. He is this very aggressive. He'll go over the middle. He will fight through press coverage. He's sneaky physical at the point of the catch. Despite the fact he's 5'11", 175. To me, he's all over the place. I could see him going 3rd round just because it's wide receiver, so people are pushing him back. I could also see him going 1st round. Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes works him out and goes, ooh, this is my new play toy. I want to do all these wonderful things with you. And a team like the Chiefs, Chargers, even I'd say the 49ers are going to look at this guy and go, ooh, we can do so many things here with his route running where you can be an outside receiver, he can be over the middle, and some team's going to fall in love with him and go, you know what? God damn, we're going to take the chance. We're going to make you a 1st-round pick and just have you play all these wonderful things. McKinney, I'm a little bit more higher on because you had to think a lot of the times teams try to pick on him. They didn't want to go against Travis Hunter. So that DJ McKinney was a guy, but the team would target more. He's the long, fluid player. He was a primary outside corner. Only gave up 8.4 yards per reception. That was 9th best among corners. You'd like to see him add a little, to trim his frame, get a little more lighter, but still, he's a press corner. He's used to being the guy who has to face maybe more action. We'll see how he does this year because there might be a lot of teams that just don't want to go against him. They'll go, screw this. We'll take our chances on the other side of the field.
Yeah, so this may be the only podcast where we cover Georgia Tech in the month of September. And Eric Rivers, it sounds like I think I heard more or less the same thing from all 3 of you. But I guess my question would be on Eric Rivers. I've heard some people say he is one of the 2 or 3 best downfield receivers in this class. If you need a field stretcher, he's in the top 2 or 3. Randall, where do you stand on Rivers as far as his game if a team needs a downfield target?
Yeah, I very much agree. I don't know if I'd probably go top 3 because probably Carnell Tate is probably the number 1. And then you're getting into other speedy guys, and especially with Eric Rivers coming into Florida International and then coming to Georgia Tech, I'm curious to see how that uptick in better play will do for him. So I don't want to put him right there right now because the physicality he does well. But again, he's going up in competition coming to Georgia Tech. So I want to see how he handles that as well at 175. But I do agree because it's so surprising that he had, 85% of his snaps were out wide for a 5'11", 175 guy. So he's got all 3 levels of speed. So I would put him in that top 5 deep threat possible and field stretching ability for sure. And then honestly, he's so good, and his deceleration is what makes cornerbacks rethink a go route or a comeback, and they could bite on that comeback and then stretch the field on that angle.
So, Chris, how about you? Where do you stand with Eric Rivers? And let's say, is he? Would you say he's one of the better downfield receivers that you've seen, or how would you describe that part of his game?
He's sort of a cross between Tyreek Hill and Pop Douglas. He can do everything, really, but it's almost like, right now we got to see what happens when a guy's matching him stride for stride. Can he, does he have enough maybe hops enough to get those, 50-50 balls? Will he be able to handle the pounding? He has a limited route tree experience because basically he's been the best guy in the field by far. I think he'll need, we need to see refinement on timing routes, stop and goes, developing chemistry. But the sky is the limit for this guy because he has sort of that almost punt returner mentality, ability where, as you said, he can stop on a dime. He can, accelerate, decelerate. He knows how to get underneath coverages. I mean, the talent's there. We want to see, I guess, more refinement as somebody who can go down the field and also who can, be used to like timing and route running.
Yeah, that's kind of where his flaws are that you mentioned, Chris, is 10% drop rate, which his hands are not surefire, and that's one issue. And then he's only got a 33% contested catch rate. So if he does not create separation, that becomes a problem for him, and that's where his flaw is, and hopefully does not kind of get bigger going to Georgia Tech.
But just a quick pushback on the hand. Is it the hands, or is he one of those guys where he's always thinking like too far ahead? Like we see this in any athlete. Or instead of going the next step, it's 2 steps ahead, 3 steps. I'm going to get the ball, and spin around, and then do a cut, and all of a sudden just a concentration. Like how much of this is physical, and how much of it is he needs more coaching to figure out. Okay, just focus on getting the catch, then make the move.
I would say concentration drops are not far off from regular drops on a tape perspective. Concentration drops is different mentally because obviously sometimes sometimes bad hands are bad hands if you don't have like Gabe Davis. Like while he was with Buffalo, everybody saw it. He hand caught it. He was just not a natural catcher, and he never got out of it. So that's an issue. If you have drop issues and your hands are not good and you can't fix them, that's an issue. But concentration drops are a big mental part of the game. So it's hard to get that out of your brain as well on concentration drops. So as much as bad hands are bad hands, concentration drops can be just as bad in my opinion.
So Andy, where are you on Rivers being a downfield receiver? Like, is he Sean Payton's next Joker?
I mean, hypothetically, he could be. Well, I do really like the Broncos wide receiver room this year. That's for another topic. But yeah, Eric Rivers, I mean, he separates vertical at an elite rate. I think he tracks well. I do think a lot of his drops are concentration because I did note, I thought he caught in traffic at a very good rate. Most of the drops were just thinking 3 steps ahead rather than the present and the next step. But the production obviously jumps off the paper. And now going up to Georgia Tech, it's a huge test, and it'll honestly be great for him on an NFL note. And this first week will be great for him going against an NFL prospect corner, DJ McKinney, who can go step for step, stride for stride with pretty much any receiver because of his athletic talent. So I'm really intrigued to see Eric Rivers this season as a whole, because I do think while Georgia Tech lost Eric Singleton to the portal, I honestly think there is a very realistic world where Eric Rivers is an upgrade from him. So we'll see how that goes.
I'm going to respect – that was a fantastic point. I'm going to respectfully disagree because I do love Eric Singleton Jr. I think he's a fantastic wide receiver, but I think that's exactly the game plan. Yeah. I think they brought in Eric Rivers for the replacement of Eric Singleton Jr. That was a great point.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Great point.
Here's the next factor we haven't talked about with coaching. Look, Georgia Tech, they brought it, they have Trent McKnight is the wide receivers coach. This is a guy who's worked with Jamari Thrash, Penny Hart. I think that's also an X factor for Eric Rivers. Like, okay, now you have a guy who is coached NFL draft picks, veterans. He knows exactly how to refine. He's been an offensive coordinator. What would that look like now for Eric? Now that he has maybe a guy who can go, look, if you do this, I can get you into the NFL. If you do this, your progression will be better. If you do this, we can minimize drops and everything. And somebody who actually has skins on the wall to go, look, I know what the hell I'm talking about.
Agreed. And I mean, as much as I don't know much about Florida International's quarterback, but at Georgia Tech, I mean, Haynes King is a gunslinger, a dual threat gunslinger, which Georgia Tech uses a lot of motion, a lot of RPOs and stuff like that. But he's a gunslinger. He's a little bit thinner than 215, what they say it is, but he has 14 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, but he uses his rushing a lot. Only 4 drops for Eric Rivers, but he had Haynes King had what? Let me see. He had a 13% pressure to sack and an 82% adjusted completion percentage, which is regular completion percentage was 66. So I believe he had like 16 to 18 drops throughout the year last year. And Eric Rivers catching in the middle of the field will do beautiful things for Haynes King for sure. So I'm curious to see how they gel together. And Haynes King's definitely a interesting prospect to see how he handles this year.
So Haynes King is polarizing, and Kaidon Salter will be equally polarizing as a quarterback from a draft prospect standpoint.
Yeah,
there are people that are already saying Haynes King is top 100. And I also know from talking with other people, that's a heck of a projection.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the quarterbacks a little bit. And Durst gave the best Kaidon Salter comp. If you're listening to the podcast right now, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to imagine Deion Sanders playing quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That's Kaidon Salter.
Yeah. I literally
Right?
like watching Salter. I was like, this is vibe of Deion. Like just a straight vibe for Deion. I was like, this makes sense.
Yeah. So like Durst said, imagine Deion Sanders had a son, and his son played quarterback for Colorado. It's Kaidon Salter.
Yeah. His spiral is so beautiful. It's like Deion probably saw that spiral and was like, that's pretty.
So, but Randall, when you look at Kaidon Salter from a draft perspective, my understanding is this is his last year of college eligibility. So he is in this draft class. The biggest question is, based on what I've heard, and we've covered Kaidon Salter in a few different podcasts already, he's a runner, not a thrower. But you want to elaborate on Kaidon Salter a little bit from a draft perspective?
For sure, yeah. I mean, he's a smaller frame at 6'1", 190. He has, over 1,000 rushing in 2023, and then in 2024 he had 7 touchdowns. But the caveat with his rushing is he had 23 fumbles in 2 years. So that's probably something that Deion can probably get out of him, especially probably with a better offensive line coming from Liberty over to Colorado. And they got a bunch. You got Andy. You talked about their left tackle and the right guard that we'll talk about later. I actually really liked, or left guard. I'm sorry, that liked really well as well. So I bet the offensive line will help. He did have Liberty had a lot of wide receivers with stone hands as well. So I took that into account as well. He had 12% of his passes were dropped, but he is more of a runner because he's 6'1", 190. He's very calm in the pocket, but if he gets that pressure, his footwork does get a little erratic, but he has a sense of going through his progressions when he needs to, and he knows what to do. He has a pre-plan. Like before, he has pre-snap recognition, and then he has a plan before he says hike, and he knows what to do. He's very fluid in his motion, and his release is very good. As I said, his spiral is incredible. It's just he's not too accurate. The ball location is not really on the numbers. It's kind of erratic at that point, and he doesn't set his feet right before he throws, even though he's composed before it. So if he can just get his mechanics, his hips and his shoulders in line, he'll end up having more of on target. And again, with Liberty's stone hands, it came with a lot of the balls were at their knees or a little bit high, and they were dropping those. But realistically, in a Colorado offense, they're probably going to catch a lot of those, and that 11.5% drops pass will probably go down to 4 to 6%, which will increase his completion percentage, yards and touchdowns and things like that, and then possibly be able to open up his rushing game without being so not having as many fumbles. So then he can kind of balance it out in his final year with Deion and then become more of a complete quarterback. But Andy, I guarantee that you've watched more Salter than I have. So give me your synopsis on him.
Well, I do completely agree that you would watch him, you would say, oh, that's what I'd pictured Deion's kid to be. That's completely Deion's vibe. I worry that it's not Pat Shurmur's vibe at all. Like that's what I worry about. Is just I just don't like Pat Shurmur offenses. I'm just gonna put it simply. But I think he has a lot of pure talent as a whole, as a runner, as a passer. It's very strong arm. I worry about his ability to play in structure at the next level because he struggled playing in structure at Liberty. Now he takes the jump to the Big 12, and then we're talking about an NFL jump. He has to do a lot this year to make me remotely confident. He gets happy feet in the pocket, makes far too many risky decisions, I feel like. But he's a very tough quarterback. He delivers in big moments. He has a quick trigger, good delivery as a whole, electric athlete, live arm. Like has the outline of what you want in a quarterback prospect. He just needs to clean up, bits and pieces of his game as a whole. So I wouldn't put any high grade on him right now. I wouldn't put any solidified draftable grade right now because I want to see him successfully make the leap from Liberty to Colorado, just conferences, and then be able to look like an NFL quarterback at the Big 12, which granted, you're not going to be facing elite defenses in the Big 12 week in and week out, but it's going to be a lot better than what you saw him going against at Liberty.
Yeah,
So Chris,
I mean, sorry. I think for if I had to take a guess at which game he was like, let's bring him in sort of thing, it'd probably be the East Carolina game if anybody else watched it. I mean, he had 4 touchdowns, he had 1 bad interception, and he had 2 fumbles on RPOs. RPOs can be fixed. It was just bad communication both times with the running back. But he had 4 good touchdown passes. 3 of them were from the pocket. 1 was on the run. The 3rd touchdown was incredible. It was a post out to the corner pylon, and he basically hit the corner pylon. It was super impressive by that touchdown. So I'm sure that East Carolina game, probably looking at him, been like, yeah, we can do something with him because that game was impressive. And if you get consistency out of that with getting rid of some of those RPO fumbles, and that bad interception was because he just didn't square his feet out, but kind of work on that, and then you have a good Big 12 quarterback. Sorry, Chris, go ahead.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of coaches who'll look at Caden Salter and probably go like, oh, God, no, we can't take this guy. He's undisciplined. God damn it, deep ball accuracy, 50-50, it's like a Scud missile. You get happy feet. He will make, forced throws, risky decisions. His anticipation is a little bit small. And then there's going to be coaches who are going to look at this guy and go, he is that alpha dog mentality. Like you mentioned the East Carolina game. I also mentioned FIU where he basically – game's getting away from, Liberty, and he's basically – you never see him panic. It's like, we are going to win this game. We're going to march down the field. We're going to score in overtime. And you can't teach that. You can't teach being a leader or not. You can't teach, toughness, being savvy. These are things an athlete has to develop on his own. So, look, we'll see what happens. Yeah, nobody likes the Pat Shurmur offense. But it's still Deion. And Deion, understands every position in the field. We talk about Deion, prime time, all the trash talking about hype and everything. Deion's as smart as they come for a football coach. So I'm going to see what he does. Can he rein in Kaidon a bit? Can he get Kaidon to sort of go, okay, I need to be a little more smarter at times without going, all right, yeah, get rid of the whole razzmatazz, street football, backyard football, aggressiveness, which makes Caden Salter. So I don't know. Some coaches are going to love him and some are going to hate him, but it's going to be interesting to see what Deion does. Can he basically refine Caden to be more of a complete quarterback?
Hey, Andy, is he still 190 in Boulder? Is he still 190 pounds, or did he gain any weight?
I'm pretty sure. I haven't heard any different, so I would probably still guess he's 190.
Yeah, 200, 10 more pounds of muscle would be wonderful for him at 6'1", 200. I think would be the ideal for him to be considered draftable. I'm not sure if any team's going to take him at 6'1", 190, to be honest with you. That's an NFL player hitting that. An NFL player hitting him, not going to go well.
So, as I'm listening to you guys, I'm like, okay, so what is the draft trajectory? And here's what I mean by that, right? Do we have a history where we can see a quarterback that was not playing at the highest level of college football spend a year at D1 at a Power 4 school, then get a late round draft pick, right? He's probably a day 3 guy. But he's a day 3 guy that has something. Like his escapability is electric. There can be a role for him, even if it's just running like a goal line package for a team or something. There can be a role for him, even if he's never an NFL starter, in my opinion. But do we have a blueprint of a quarterback that's had this trajectory before? Like,
unless I'm missing something, I can't think of one off the top of my head.
What was that, Andy?
I mean, unless I'm missing one, it's tough because Kaidon Salter. It's kind of this era of NIL ball that we're gonna see this happen a lot more, but hasn't happened a lot.
Like Cam Ward.
Cam Ward going to Miami, and
he went first overall, so I guess anything's possible, right?
I think it's possible, yeah. That'd be a transfer like Kaidon Salter sort of thing because of his size and the way he operates. Because like Cam Ward had, Kaidon Salter does have it, but Cam Ward's a little bit more accurate. If Kaidon Salter was more accurate, we could probably start having that conversation more. If he was throwing more on target, that would be the conversation. And it's fully possible. I could even see Kaidon Salter coming in as a UDFA, even if he doesn't get drafted. Because for starters, I bet as long as he becomes more accurate and he's eligible, he could be perfect practice squad quarterback to start learning. Teams could use them when they're playing teams like Lamar Jackson and things along those lines to prepare for. And then he can learn the NFL quarterback as he goes and then potentially, earn a QB3 or QB2 and then kind of just go through there and build his way up.
Chris, any additional thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'd say his range, you could argue, is honestly it's only anywhere between 7 to 3 because we say all these things, but Malik Willis was a QB from Liberty, shorter than Kaidon Salter, and yet he was a 3rd-round draft pick. Bailey Zappi, Western Kentucky, similar size, he was a 4th-round draft pick. Again, it's going to take a certain coach who can who's very creative and go, I can do something with him. I don't know what. Yep. It's almost like, having a chef or a musician. I don't know how this is going to work, but it's going to work. Somebody like a Sean Payton or a Mike McDaniel probably look at this guy and go, ooh, I got packages for him. I have tricks.
Mike McDaniels is a good one.
Yeah, and I think that's actually the distinction to make. Is Kaidon Salter going to be a quarterback that you have packages for, or can he actually be your quarterback? Because I could easily see a role where there's packages for him. And there may be certain defenses that he matches up with well, that maybe you give him more snaps than maybe a different style of defense. But I love the Malik Willis and the Bailey Zappi. Like, that's good research, doing it on the spot while we're podcasting. So give yourself a star for the day.
I'll give you a better one here. We were talking about this last draft. Jalen Milroe, we looked at and went, oh my God, his throwing mechanics are awful. He's blah, blah, blah. And yet, and I credit to guys like John Vogel and Albert Breer. He would walk into meetings and coaches fell in love with him because he had this leadership. He's tough as nails. He's a winner. The stuff we can't see and put a price tag on, coaches will look and go, I want this guy. I can work with him. So it might take some time. He might probably be back for a couple of years, but if I could develop this guy, man, I will hit pay dirt because all he does is win. He knows how to win, and that's what the NFL is about. I don't care how pretty it is. this guy can win. And that's what I think with Caden Salter. You'll find some coach who will look and go, he's not like Jalen Milroe. It's going to take some time. I'm going to need to really work. But as I said, if it's a team like just off the top of my head, I'll throw it out there. Let's say,
is he a Raider?
Colts. Whoever new coaches. Let's say you get a guy. They look and go, well, we're going to stick with Daniel Jones for until maybe. But hey, let's take a flyer on Caden Salter.
You go from Anthony Richardson to Caden Salter.
I don't know about that. Yeah. And Jalen Milroe is 6'2", like 215, I believe. So again, 6'1", 190 is a big deal to me, to be honest.
Yep. True, but it's the same principle. We look at all the flaws, and we're doing analytics, and yet all it takes is a bunch of coaches who will meet this kid. They'll hit it off. They'll get the recommendation from Dion, and they'll look and they'll go, well, he wins. Well, that's the main thing here. We need you to win football games. We don't care about 4,000 yards, 3,000, 30 touchdowns. If you're losing, if you can win, hey, we put a premium on that.
I have my new comp for Caden Salter. You guys ready? It's Willie Beeman.
It's what?
It's Willie Beeman.
Willie Beeman.
From any given Sunday, yes.
Any given Sunday. I was like, wait a minute.
I can tell it took Randall a minute, but
I was like,
Andy, I can see you smiling. Like Andy was smiling. Like I saw that. What do you think, Andy?
Yeah, no, see it. I definitely see it.
Okay, Chris, the quarterback on the other side is Haynes King. What do you have on Haynes King?
If he was, oh God, he is the most bipolar quarterback in this draft. I mean, there are some games you look and you go, my God, he's a first-round draft pick. I mean, we go back to the Georgia game where he's doing everything literally in his power. He's throwing for 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, ran for 24 times for 110 yards, 3 touchdowns. This is Georgia. Nobody does it against Georgia. And then against Vandy, once again, 204 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then there's games where it's against UNC, it's like, oh my God, this guy's a starting quarterback in the NFL. He is a runner. What the hell? I mean, it's there. There's there are games where he looks great. Then there's games where it's like, oh my God, you're Tim Tebow-esque. What the hell?
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I think he moves a little bit. His mental capacity moves a little bit too quickly. I think he needs to slow it down and process a little bit, especially because it's hard with Georgia Tech's offense. Again, they use a lot of RPOs, a lot of motion. Use him running a lot. Like, he's so good at rushing, but he only averages for a quarterback 4.7 yards per carry because they design runs for him up the A-gap, which is wild, especially for 215 or a little bit. He looks thinner than 215, but they use him in rushing in that sense, but he hangs on to the ball when he's not rushing. He only 1% turnover-worthy plays. He's only thrown 2 interceptions with 14 touchdowns. He had over 2,000 yards. His dual threat is good. I'm questionable about his running completely, the way that Georgia Tech used them, but they could obviously turn from that. He's got a rocket arm. The issue with his rocket arm is that as well as it is on the deep ball, where there's some errant throws, is that he's inaccurate on short and intermediate. And I think that has to do with his mental capacity kind of going a little too quick. Like during the Georgia game, he would have had an extra touchdown. When he was in the red zone, he was about 10 yards back. And it was just a deep drag to go to the corner pylon. But he threw it in the first window that was open when he should have just waited a second, wait till he actually did his full route into the corner pylon. That was wide open. Wide receiver was running too fast, threw it behind him, and then that was an incomplete pass. Ended up as a field goal sort of thing. So stuff like that where I think it just his processing needs to slow down and get more familiar, let plays develop, as to where he can probably at least increase his yardage and increase wins for Georgia Tech. And then that's where he can become probably that top 100 guy that people are talking about.
So, Andy, where are you on Haynes King?
I think Chris put it very well that he's a very bipolar quarterback, and it's tough for me to give a grade on him yet because I just want to see another year of tape. I want to see if he can become consistently good. Then yeah, he's a top 100 guy. but the on 1 week, completely off 1 week isn't going to get him a high draft spot in the league. It probably won't even get him drafted to begin with. But he has a rocket launcher of an arm, very athletic, electric, turns broken plays into explosive gains, throws like he's very good throwing on the move. He has a clutch gene that I like to see. Extends plays, impressive arm talent, but his accuracy becomes spotty pretty regularly. The inconsistency has a pretty bad gunslinger mentality at times where it's just he could have the easy gain right in front of him, but he goes deep, can lead to an interception, bad incompletion, etc. And I question his ability to read a complex defensive scheme right in front of him. But all in all, I think there is a world where he could go top 100, but he needs to have a really good year, and Georgia Tech needs to compete for the ACC for that to happen.
Now, is Haynes King for certain in this draft class, or if memory serves me correctly, I thought somebody said he still has another year if he chooses to go back.
He will probably come out this year. He's 24 years old. So if it's another year, it's like then teams will really get scared because it's like, oh crap, you're 25. This might be the best. Look, he's a poor man's Josh Allen. There's games where you look at him as you said, Georgia game, and it's just, oh my God, he's everything we want. Dual threat ability. He runs over. God damn it, he ran over Malachi Starks. He eluded Jalen Walker, and then there's other games where it's like, God damn it, have you ever played quarterback? Can you actually read a defense? We're not sure about this year, but he's a top 100 pick. Because there's going to be GM, scouts, coaches who are going to look and go, we can fix him. Get the right quarterback coach. We draft him, develop him. Hey, you know what? Because if that's what everybody's afraid of. It's not we'll have a quarterback bust. It's, oh, crap. We missed out on the next Jalen Hurts. We missed out on Josh Allen. We missed out on Dak Prescott because we were too conservative.
Okay, so is he for certain in this class? Randall, did you –
No, he could stay an extra year if he does not need to. And I think that is also evolving as well. If you look at Bo Nix and you look at Michael Penix, I think age of a quarterback, it might be evolving where it's not that more of a problem, especially because you can play into your close to your 40, past your 40 sort of thing. So I'm on the fact, if you're not ready, just like as Andy said, if you don't have that year, that sort of year where you're competing for the ACC, then just stay another year and then you can grow on it. That means you took that big step forward, then you have an opportunity to take another big step forward. I'm sure that if you have a good year, you'll get enough money in nil and just be happy taking your nil money, staying next year, and then getting ready for NFL for 2027.
Okay, so we have covered like probably the 5 highest profile players in the game, but there's definitely a few others. Andy, anybody on the player list for this game that is, high on your board? Oh, go for it.
Yeah, let me ask Andy a question. Better pass rusher for you for Colorado, Arden Walker or Samuel Okunlola? Who do you like better?
It's unpopular because whenever I say this, everyone's like, no, it's the other one. I like Okunlola more. And I always hear, well, Arden Walker's better. But Okunlola's tools, and let me pull up my notes on him, but Samuel Okunlola's tools are just NFL made to a T. I think this guy's a top 100 player for me. I think there's a world where he could be, like, we look back on this in a year, I think there's a world where he could be, a top 2 player drafted from this game. Very high-end athlete, elite bend, consistently puts pressure on a quarterback, high motor through the whistle, sets the edge well consistently. Solid frame, good array of pass rush moves, like just a lot I like to see from an edge rusher. He definitely needs to show a little bit more production this year. Only had 3 sacks last year, but it was also in a rotational role. And this year, hopefully, he is a full-time starter rather than being that 3rd, 4th guy behind BJ Green, Arden Walker, Dayon Hayes for the year. He's that guy now alongside Arden Walker, so I'm really excited to see how it comes together this year for him.
Yeah, and I think, Randall, that's actually a good question about like Okunlola versus Arden Key, because I think Owen liked Arden Key when we did the Colorado podcast, but Andy liked Okunlola. Chris, out of those two edges, which one do you like better?
Okunlola. I mean, look, Arden Key, I think, is an excellent college player, but he's a 6'2", 250-pound defensive end, which he's not fast enough to play like a Jalon Walker where he can move in the outside linebacker. And teams want bigger, beefier, taller defensive ends. Okunlola, you looking, it's like, all right, he's 6'4", 250. He could probably put some extra beef on him. You know, he's very flexible with his moves, excellent pass rush, has the athleticism. It's granted, it's the Big 12, so no defense ever really does anything of note, but he looks to be that guy that, you know, if Dion and Co. can tap into it, he could be a guy where it's like, yeah, you know what, some team takes a flyer on him in the second, third round because it's like, ooh, he has size, he has athleticism. He might be better once he has better players around him.
Yeah, I mean, Arden Walker is no bum, to be honest with you. I do also like Arden Walker. I think he's got some good pass rush moves already in line, and then he can set up. And this year, coming with a pass rush plan, I think he's got a good cross chop. I think he has a double swipe and a single swipe. He has some good speed to power. He has a decent bull rush. He used it really well in Texas Tech. So I would say Arden Walker. I think those two as a combo, as long as they work as a team, will work really well. And then I'm also, like, to be honest, Colorado's defense, I'm kind of excited about. You got DJ McKinney. You know, we were going to talk about Preston Hodge, but I'm not a fan of Preston Hodge at all. But even the defensive line, if they work cohesively, I think it's going to be really good overall because you're bringing in Jaheim Oatis, who is a very good interior defensive lineman. He ended up redshirting to go to the transfer portal because at Alabama, he wasn't going to get used as much. So he decided to redshirt. Now he's over at Colorado. He is super violent hands, and he's super violent on offensive linemen, and he can tear through that interior. And then you also have McNeil that will probably be next to him at the 3-tech role. And I'm actually a big fan of Ahmari McNeil sitting at 6'4", 300. I think he's got a lot of really good play strength to his game, and he does really well in stack and shed. And he's good in run defense while he can bring pass rush with 3 sacks and 2 QB hits. But Ahmari McNeil, like when I was watching him, a lot of things that I saw, like missed tackles, he's got to get better at tackling, which is true. But Ahmari McNeil, a lot of the times, had contributed to a lot of defensive stops because he has a really good first step and he'd get through the line first. And then when the running back came at him, maybe he got juked, but it did delay the running back. And then it led to a defensive stop of 0 or 1 yard gain only. So I really liked Ahmari McNeil's game on the interior, and partnering up with Jaheim Oatis, Okunlola, and Arden Walker is a pretty good front four, in my opinion.
Okay. Anything else on the Colorado defensive line, or should we flip to Jamal Haynes?
Andy, got anything for that line? Was I right? Did you agree?
Oh yeah, you're perfectly right.
Okay, good.
One thing I would like to note this year is I'm really excited to see how Quency Wiggins is used. Transferred in from LSU a year ago. 6'5", 250 pounds. I think he's like 265 actually. He's got like the prototype size for an NFL first round defensive end. Has all the traits, just hasn't played college football. Really excited to see how he's this year.
And he's defensive lineman for Colorado. We didn't actually say
I
his
have one
position.
question for you. Sorry to interrupt. There's one question. Sorry.
So, Chris, your audio is breaking
One
up.
guy we've missed, and that's Jaheim. Jaheim, transfer from Alabama. And what is our? I apologize if my notes here are.
So Jaheim Oatis. So
with
Andy,
Oatis, where does
him?
he stand? And is he a guy that could maybe? Yeah.
Yeah, I like Oatis. I have it's tough to grade him because you got to go back practically 2 years to find any reliable tape on him. But I think from then he's like a 4th round guy in my eyes. And on this defensive front, it'll be really good to see him. He's kind of like I think how Colorado treats him. I think he's the guy on that defensive front. I think all in all, he's expected to be the standout on that defensive front. And I think I think the tape at Alabama justifies it. I mean, elite play size, play strength, good anchor strength against double teams, violent hands at the point of attack, red hot motor, pushes the pocket well, scheme versatile, high football IQ, like all the things you want to see out of the guy on the defensive front. So I expect a big year from him. I expect him. I think there's a solid chance that he could work into the day 2 range this year.
100% agree. I was literally like right there with you, Andy. Like I think he'll be a high riser as long as he plays a full season. He's a 325-pound 3-tech that moves well as a 3-tech. So I'm with you. I think he can get into day 2.
Okay, why don't we flip to Jamal Haynes? I'm actually really curious, like from a running back board standpoint, where any of you have Jamal Haynes, the running back from Georgia Tech. Randall, where is he for you? Is he a guy, or is he a guy that's pretty high on your running back board?
He's a guy. He's a guy because I think coming into the NFL, he won't be a 3-down back. He'll be more of a change of pace role sort of thing. The way he is built, 5'9", 190. He's got 4.4 speed. I wish it was maybe 4.3 speed, but we'll see sort of thing. I think it's about 4.45. But he's got good rushing and receiving, so that change of pace works really well. He's a play is never dead kind of guy. Anytime if he's not getting grabbed, he will switch fields. He will do whatever it takes. He's a guy that never dies sort of running back. So I do like that in him. He's a big workhorse. He has some bad games, some good games like Syracuse, Louisville, Notre Dame, and NC State were all under 2.5 yards per carry. But then his other games help with the receiving as well. So he does it. I would like to see maybe add a little weight for it and get some play strength for him to be a better blocker and show that he can do more than just a change of pace role. But I do like him. I think he is going to get drafted no matter what because he is that shifty change of pace role. And he only had 4 fumbles. He's good in the receiving. He had, receiving at 166 and 3 touchdowns. He had 4 touchdowns in the last 2 years receiving while having a total of 16 touchdowns in the last 2 years with only 4 fumbles. So he knows what to do with the ball. He's explosive. Just the size is not a 3-down back. So I take really 3-down back without the possibility goes into late round 4 starter for me.
Chris, how about you on Jamal Haynes, the running back from Georgia Tech?
Yeah, it's a story of a lot of these running backs. If he was 2 inches taller and 20 pounds heavier, he'd be a full-time, 3-down back. We'd have him probably in the first, second round. He has home run speed. He is deceptive power. He can break arm tackles, drag defenders into the end zone. He has great vision at times that allows him to identify and exploit and cut back lanes. He is a guy who can catch the ball. It's like Deuce Vaughn who just got cut. You look and you go, holy crap, you're a small little guy. You're 5'9", 190 pounds. It's like Brashard Smith. He'll get drafted probably in that 5th to 7th, round range. You'll have a team, a very offensive-minded team. Josh McDaniels, for example, look at him and go, he is our 3rd down back. He is the guy who's going to catch passes out of the backfield. We can use him along with Travion Henderson. We can, he'll be that 3 rotational guy, but he's not somebody you can look and go, yeah, he's going to be a bell cow. He can handle the pounding because at 5'9", 190, you're worried. He's just, it's going to catch up to him. There will be, just pass protection, is still needs work, and you worry about the punishment of a full NFL season, including he's had concussion issues.
Okay, Andy, how about you on Jamal Haynes?
Yeah, this is a guy who is very draftable in my opinion. I would say, that round 5 range, but also, what do I know? I had a round 3 grade on Kyle Monangai this past year, and he fell out of the 7th round. So what do I know?
Do we have to talk about Braden Swinson right now? Braden Swinson.
The NFL just never fails to disappoint me.
Yeah.
For being a smaller back, Jamal Haynes actually has a great competitive willingness, gets yards after contact at a nice rate, exceptional vision, quick acceleration to and through the gaps. home run hitting speed, gets to the second level with these. But 5'9", 190, that's obviously going to cap his ceiling at the NFL. This guy's a rotational back. His pass protection tools remain underdeveloped, so you would like him to be that prototype third down guy, but his pass protection concerns me in that regard. And his route tree out of the backfield is underdeveloped in my opinion. He could use some more refinement in that area this year. But I think overall, the athleticism, the home run hitting speed, the production all say that this guy's getting drafted. And, he's a bell cow at Georgia Tech, and he won't be that in the NFL, but I think he's definitely a guy who gets drafted.
Yeah, Andy, you bring up a good point because he could prove us wrong. It was about 62% of his total yards were after contact with 3.31 yards after contact. So that's above average looking through this running back class at 3.31 yards after contact. So he could certainly, with another year under his belt, and that's why summer scouting is awesome, is that we have this year ahead of us that he could certainly prove us wrong in those categories, to be honest.
Yeah, so Chris, if you were to look at the player list, who is the best of the rest for you? Drop as any or as many names as you want.
I'll give three guys who I'm going to keep my eye on. The first one, just because we're looking at offensive linemen, is Zy Crisler. He was a full-time starter for Illinois. He's a durable player, only missed one game. He has the size. He's a big man, 6'6", 350 pounds, solid athlete, has good lateral quickness and agility, solid pass pro. He's played right guard. He can play tackle if he needs to because he's done that. This is one of those offensive linemen that you can look and go, we can start him somewhere. He might be an offensive guard. Hey, if we need a swing tackle, we can do that. This is because it's Colorado, because they will throw the ball a lot. I think this is going to be a guy who will impress coaches and impress scouts because they look and go, okay, he can play the NFL game. He's going to have some good blocks. The two guys I know we're all going to talk about for different reasons are the wide receivers. Hykeem Williams he looks the part. I mean, and I know Andy will probably say this. He looks like he walked out of a mad scientist lab. And you go, oh, my God, this is the perfect wide receiver. Look at him. He's tall. He's big. He's fast. He has good hands. He needs, there's questions about the mentality. Some people said, oh, he was too, laissez-faire about what was going on in Florida State. I argue, well, when you have those three quarterbacks, you have to either accept it or you'll go crazy. And the other guy, which I'm dying to see how he does, and that is the transfer from Campbell. That is Sincere Brown. This is another guy you look and it's like, holy crap. He is a wide receiver coach's dream. 6'5", 190 pounds. He dominated at Campbell. It's gonna be. The question is, can he do this at a big Power 4 conference? How does he do in Colorado? How does he do when he might not be the best player by miles, when he goes up against better cornerbacks. So those are my three guys I'm looking at because I'm guaranteeing you, coach will look at Sincere Brown and go, oh, my God, this is the wide receiver we want. He's tall. He's fast. Where have you been all our life?
If Sincere Brown can bring successfully his quick wide receiver screens, his quick comeback wide receiver screens, because he had 7.6 yards after the catch per reception for a 6'5" guy. If he can bring that to Colorado, then he's a draftable guy in my opinion because he moves well, he can cut well, he can cut decently, but he comes back well, and he's fluid with the run after the catch. So he brings that to Colorado, then we can have a serious discussion about him, in my opinion.
So Andy, best of the rest. Anybody you haven't had a chance to talk about that's on the player list that you think anybody building a draft board should know about?
I know Randall touched on him for a second earlier. I will mention Preston Hodge. Not a guy I'm that high on. Truthfully, kind of hope he moves to safety this year, and it sounds crazy because he's been a nickel his whole career. plays well in the nickel, generates good plays on ball, smart player, good change of direction skills. But there's just something about putting him at safety that would really intrigue me. And Colorado has a nickel coming in from Wyoming this year that's blown everyone away in camp, Tyricus Davis. So you think, and he's like 5'9", so you're not going to play him outside. So
Yeah.
you think, and I would really like to see Preston Hodge play safety this year, and I think it would do wonders for his draft stock. Make him a solidified draftable guy. Because he's got a solid frame to play safety. He's 6 foot 200. And I think from the back, I think he would the IQ would translate. He sees the field very well. He scans the field well. He anticipates very well. This is a guy who I really want to see at safety.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. 100%.
Anybody else you want to mention, Andy?
And I will touch on real quick the guards for Colorado, Zy Crisler and Xavier Hill. Two priority UDFAs right now just because I want to see a year of consistent tape. But both have very solid frames. I believe Zy Crisler's 6'6", 340 pounds, and super powerful, 4-year collegiate starter. All Big Ten honorable mention last year, I believe. In a zone scheme, he'll have versatility between guard and swing tackle, solid wide base, good play strength. That's a guy that if he slips to a UDFA, you want to give him a shot because he has versatility over the line. He has the college pedigree. He has what you want in a flyer for a guy you could practice squad, develop for a few years, get him out there, see if he can become a good backup for you. And then Xavier Hill transferring in from Memphis, 6'4", 315. Started plenty of games at left guard and right tackle. He'll be starting at left guard this year. This will be his redshirt senior season, 6th year of college ball between LSU, Memphis, and Colorado. Ton of experience. His footwork is very rough, gets stuck in cement, it looks like, against more powerful or nuanced guys. And his anchor gets bulldozed against powerful guys. So that's really why I want to see a consistent year out of him to make him draftable. But these are two guys that I would say are priority UDFAs because you get them in your building, stash them on the practice squad. Maybe they can develop into good, solid depth for you.
Okay. Randall, big finish. Anybody on the player list that you want to talk about?
We've covered a lot, but I guess, two that could turn into draftable people that are probably in the UDFA territory is Georgia Tech wide receiver Malik Rutherford, 5'9", 170, a smaller guy as well, but he is a gadget guy. So he's got to separate himself out from the gadget territory, but he, 70% of his targets came from 9 yards or less on average up the target, but he had 2.35 yards per route run, so he was efficient in his catching. He had 7.8 yards after the catch per reception, so that was great. He had 2 100-yard games. One was against Louisville, so he did well against Louisville. I'd like to see that. He's just got to separate himself from the gadget guys. He's got good speed for it, so we'll see what he can do there. And then also Georgia Tech, Kalen Rutledge, 6'4", 320 pounds. He's only allowed 6 pressures last year. He's a little light in the lower half. He carries a lot of his weight on the upper half, so his anchor's not too strong, and that's my biggest concern for him, is a quick first step, gets him pulled back about 2 steps, and then he can sometimes anchor, but it doesn't work that well. But he's good in the run game because of those kind of skinnier legs. He can move. He can book it on pulls across the line and things along those lines. So right now he's not draftable. Those two players I could see getting a drafted spot or becoming a PFA.
Okay. Well, why don't we take a minute, introduce ourselves to everybody watching in case this is the first Draft Professor podcast somebody's ever seen. I can't imagine somebody's never seen our show, but
Yeah.
it might be possible.
Before we do that, the funny thing is the best player in this game still has another year left. Jordan Seaton's a guy that everybody wants to draft because they're looking going, this is the future NFL tackle. And he's only called sophomore. That's the scary part here of this game. Is the best player is a sophomore who still can't turn pro for another year.
That's the offensive tackle for Colorado?
Yes.
Yeah, left tackle.
Okay, so Chris, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, you can check me out at lastcallpodcast.com. I'm also on Twitter. It's Last Call WChrisC. I'm on Rumble. I am on YouTube channel, Facebook, LinkedIn, and yes, we're going to be this week. As I said, we just dropped an interview with Marcel Dorff of MMA Oddsbreaker. We'll also be having Ernest Silby Interview Lab podcast talking Texas college football preview this Friday, and I'm looking forward. And once again, last week was a great little appetizer. Now ready for the main course of college football. Unfortunately, this is the final week of Lee Corso. It's gonna be. I will be crying. I admit that. There will be tears.
Andy.
Yeah, I'm Andy NFL on Twitter. That's really where I do all my work. I have a Substack, Andy NFL Substack. Haven't been too consistent there because that's mainly draft stuff, and I'm full in on on doing Broncos stuff right now. And I try and keep consistent with draft stuff. I think I posted a ton of Dominique Orange propaganda the other day because he's awesome. But yeah, you could find me at Andy NFL. Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Randall.
All right, yeah, at Randall Slifer. You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky. I do most of my chatting there when it comes to football, and then I do my podcasting for scouting here with Draft Professor with Jim and everybody that is a part of it Monday through Sunday. Me and Andy will be on Tuesday, so you'll see us every Tuesday, which is fantastic. Love talking with Andy, love talking with Chris. And then I also write for Arkansas Razorbacks and Buffalo Bills content with Team MBS Media. I'm a part of their NFL Draft Central with Bill Carroll, Greg Rector, and Jeff Barnes, which is great. And then I also do a Buffalo Bills podcast on Mondays with Do Champions that you can catch me on.
Cool. Well, if this is your first podcast that you've caught with Draft Professors, thanks for stopping by. The best thank you can give if you enjoy this content is to hit subscribe. And what you're going to get when you subscribe is daily draft content. Now, Randall is one of the originals. I had an idea, and Randall was the first one I pitched it to, and we started podcasting, and it's amazing how much it's grown. But there are 24 people at Draft Professor, like Chris, Andy, and Randall, that show up once a week. So you'll be able to catch Andy and Randall every Tuesday at 7:30. You'll be able to catch Chris on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday as well. There are 24 people like them that each show up one day a week, and what you get is daily draft content. So in the month of September, we're going to be doing game previews just like this. So you'll learn the draft class, basically 2 college teams at a time. Starting in October, you will see us break down the positions in the draft class. So Andy and Randall will be doing wide receivers. Chris will be doing offensive line. And if you didn't know this, Randall is a wide receiver whisperer. His wide receiver board and his evaluation of wide receivers is an evaluation that I trust quite a bit when it comes to building the board at Draft Professor. So we will be breaking down the draft class. So this week, tomorrow night, it's the Ohio State-Texas game. Thursday, I've already forgotten the game, but I think one of them is the Baylor game. But it's already escaping me what the other games are. I know on Friday we're doing a first-round mock with Andrew Harbaugh and Anthony Russo. So daily draft content. Please check us out. Hit that subscribe, please, and thank you. That being said, we are going to close the podcast down. For everybody watching, thank you very much. For the 90 podcasters at Draft Professor, for Chris, Randall, Andy, thank you for stopping by, and we'll see you on a podcast again tomorrow.
Thank you.